Hi, this is Derek with MoneyAhoy.com, and today we're going to talk about single member LLCs and the best way to really protect yourself against some crazy person trying to sue your business or creditors coming to try and get your personal funds. So as you know, the whole reason why you would form an LLC is mainly to protect your personal assets from liability. That's what LLC stands for, Limited Liability Company. So there's a couple activities or things you can do in the way that you conduct business to really make sure you protect yourself as much as possible if you have a single member LLC. And one thing I'll mention right off the bat is if you're married or you have someone you deeply trust, you can always form a multi-member LLC and give them a very small percentage. I've done that with my business. I set my wife as the other member in the LLC and given her a 10% percentage in the business. And that's really one quick and easy thing that I recommend folks do to try and minimize any sort of risks of someone coming after your personal assets. If you have another member, they can argue that someone else was conducting the business and maybe they made a mistake or did something wrong, and it's not fair for them to come after personal assets because it would damage them. Okay, one of the most important things you want to do, and repeat after me, is no commingling. I'll say it again, no commingling. What I mean by that is make sure you have your personal assets completely separate from your LLC business assets. In terms of, and when I say assets, I'm talking mainly about bank accounts. So what you want to do when you form your LLC, first out, is go to a bank, set up a completely separate account. You can fund that with your own personal money, and you'll record that as an initial influx of cash in your accounting records. And anything you do in the business's name that involves money, either getting paid, paying yourself, paying out bills and things like that, you want to do from the LLC bank account. So you want to be writing checks from the LLC banking account or having a LLC credit card or debit card all set up so that your person is completely separate from the business. So no one can say, well, he's operating as Chamberlain Global LLC, but it's really just Derek Chamberlain doing all the activities. You want to keep them separate. Okay, hopefully that made sense. The next thing, all in the idea of keeping things separate, is when you sign contracts, legal agreements, that sort of thing, you would want to sign them as your LLC instead of your own personal name. So if you think about it, in my case, I'm Derek Chamberlain, and my LLC is Chamberlain Global LLC. So if I sign any contracts, I want to sign them not as Derek, but as Chamberlain Global LLC, and then underneath that, you can usually say represented by and then your name. So that's another important distinction to make sure no one can say that it's just this person operating the business and not actually the business. Another thing you want to do is follow legal formalities that come along with running a company. So in many cases, companies will have meetings and record minutes. Well, if you're a single member LLC, for all practical purposes, you can't meet with yourself, except that you can. One of the main ways you want to do this is record different thoughts, business plans, ideas you have down. We all do this from time to time. We don't keep it all in our head, right? We write out plans that we're going to conduct. At the top of that, you just want to call them minutes and give them a date. What that does for you is just further establish you're operating as a business and not just yourself. Okay, the next thing you want to do, and I'll talk about this a little bit more in a separate video, but when you go to pay yourself, you want to make those special, distinct, recorded events. And this is all around keeping your funds separate. So when you pay yourself, if you do that every week or every month or even just randomly, you want to make sure you're paying yourself a reasonable and customary salary. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in another video, what that means exactly. But you want to make sure that you do it at very specific times and it's recorded mainly in your accounting. You don't just want to, okay, I'm going to borrow $100 today, and then a week from now I'll put the 100 back in. You want to make them very discrete points in time that you get paid. And the whole idea is you don't want to be borrowing money from your LLC and then putting money back kind of randomly. They need to be special kind of events. And you want to make sure you leave enough money in your LLC so that it can continue to operate for several months, maybe even up to a year at a time. And the idea here is that you don't want any lawyer coming along and saying, well, sure, he set up this LLC, but he's taking all the money out and he's basically just funding it from his own money, so they're one and the same. You want to try and create as many distinctions as you can as possible. So I gave you 4 or 5 ideas there to make sure when you're operating a single member LLC, you provide yourself as much protection as possible. And that's really so that lawyers can't come after your personal assets, which I'm guessing is one of the main reasons why you formed an LLC in the first place. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. And if you found this helpful, please like and subscribe to this video. Thanks for watching. This is Derek Chamberlain with MoneyAhoy.com.